right, welcome back to Eerie Encounters, episode 2. We're going to be taking you through Gypsies in detail today, going through everything we got, and we also have Michael with us.
He is the one we talked about in the previous one. He's the one who I think is the only one who's like consistently joined us through everything, because usually Oliver or Lisa is the one to bow out. Mikey's the only one who's like been very, very consistent in this whole thing.
Hello.
So we were supposed to have Lisa, that you probably heard us talk about in the one directly before this and the one directly after this, but that fell through. So she's going to be on a future one. We got Mikey, but that is perfectly fine because he's been with us at Gypsies just as much. Actually more than she has. So he'll do just as good, if not better. So the first thing was going to be actually about Lisa, but we can't do that because she's dead. So
she's not dead.
She's temporarily dead. So this episode is all about the Gypsy Cemetery, and that's been we did talk quite a lot about that in the first episode, the interest, but we didn't like go into extreme detail of anything or everything that had happened. And this is where we're going to be doing that. And it all started before we even like turn this into the actual like ghost hunt anything. This was supposed to be, we had just mainly heard stories of this place, and me, Teddy, and my uncle Mike, not this Mike, decided to go through a walk in there at about started at like 10 o'clock at night in the winter in February in the snow, and that was our first journey.
So I think one thing that'll be interesting about this too is a lot of these things I think Michael's going to be seeing for his first time. So we'll be able to get kind of his live reaction as well. So the first night we were there, we decided to go into the back of the woods, which is where the graves are, and it's really overgrown. There's a lot of forestation out there. And we started at like 10 o'clock, and we ended up getting lost, but like not on purpose. And it was really dark. The only way we could keep track of his uncle was because he found a white bucket.
And it was, like we said before, it was in the snow, so we did have the glare of the snow to kind of help, but it was odd just how dark it was with the snow.
But what made it even more odd is the fact that so we got lost, but we couldn't follow our own footprints because our footprints weren't there to follow. Basically, we ended up walking into a loop, and none of it made sense.
By saying that, it wasn't even like technically a loop. It was more like we were walking straight, and we found on the left side of us, there was a really weird, like a specific rock with like a certain stick formation, which out of like, it's the woods. You're going to see stuff like that. But the thing was, we kept walking straight. And about 30 minutes later, we came up to it on the exact same side again. Not like we turned around and came back, but we came up to it on the exact same side. And that was pretty disturbing.
And then so we ended up coming into the backyard of a house, and motion lights, there was a dog, everything. And we ended up crossing the road.
There was a dog kennel out back, and we passed that first, and it's very important for a detail coming up.
Yes. So we get out, we get to the street across the road, and there's no reason we should have came there. And I don't know if you took pictures of like the house or can put up a map to show them, but none of it made sense.
So I'll put up a little aerial map of the location when we start describing the next day after the story, which he's about to. But continue what you were going with.
Now that's about all I remember up until that point.
The odd thing that started like this whole thing was walking in like the loop. We were going into the woods. There's this little cemetery, like not cemetery, duh. There's this little hill that you go down. And we were coming right back up to it, which is why nothing made sense, is because we just never hit the cemetery. Now, when we passed the house and got out to the road, that's when it hit us, because we've been walking through there for hours at this point. That's when it hit us. All three of us are stupid because all three of us have a smartphone that has Google Maps on it. And so we opened it, and we found the quickest way back was to go straight back through the woods from the house we came out, and we'll come out to the cemetery. And it was a lot quicker than walking the road. And this is where it gets really weird. So we walk straight back, And about, I don't know, was it like a 30-minute walk? We came directly out to the left side of the cemetery if you're looking at it from the main part of the road. But when it's really hard to describe this. The next day, we were all three driving past it, and I wasn't going to say a word because we were driving them past the house we came out to. And I wasn't going to say a word because I wanted to see if him or my uncle made a connection first. And I'll try to draw out a map the best I can and put it on the screen for those that are watching right here. But we come up to the house and we see it on the left side of the road, and Teddy makes the comment, "Oh, that's where we walked out. You know, we can see the dog kennel, we can see the trail that we came out of, and we go straight back, and we would come to the left part of the cemetery." So realistically, you keep going down the road, you turn left, and the cemetery should be on your left over there. Now we go down the road and we turn right, and we drive for a couple seconds, and the cemetery is over there on the right side of the road, like complete 100% opposite direction. None of it made sense at all. And we still don't entirely know what happens with that. Because we went back to the other side where we thought we came out, there was no house.
Yeah, it makes just as much sense right now as it did the day we found that. Nothing matched to where we were walking, where we started.
And like I said, I'm going to try my best to draw out a map to describe this, but I don't really know how I can describe this unless you're like there.
And then I don't know where you have it at as far as when we're going to talk about that, but that whole night plays a huge part in what we're going to discuss later, where Sam went further down into Estes. And the conversations we had with that apply a lot to the night we just told you about, but that's still to come.
Yeah, and so we were in the night really, we were in the woods for a really long time that night. And yeah, we were just thinking about it at the time. None of it really like made sense as it was, but we just like brought it up to like, oh, we were tired, and you know.
Yeah, because that's the only reason we would walk around with our flashlights and our phones, but not utilizing them.
Yeah. Now that was like the last time we had like that was actually where I got the pictures of the statue that you saw in the first episode, where the head slightly shifted, and I'll put those up again here in case you missed it in the first one. But we were just taking pictures, a lot of them random that night, just because, and we got this one taken like 30 seconds apart, not even. And you can see the head pretty different here, which we still don't.
Stone doesn't move.
No, it wasn't like a movable head. Like it was firm stone. So that doesn't make much sense. Anyway, next point. The first time, which he's about to be brought up in the point right after this. You can still make comments anytime you want to, but the first, I was thinking about the first hunt, like the first actual hunt that we went to do there. And even that wasn't like, so the first time we started was I got like this cheap little version of an Alice box. And that was when me and my uncle went there to see if anything was there, which was the night we caught a face, taking pictures, and some tombstones that will bring up part of Lisa's stories in a little bit here. But our first actual hunt was me, Teddy, Mikey, and Oliver. And that was before Lisa, before Chloe, before we even really knew what we were doing. We went there in another house that got destroyed, which we talked a little bit about in the first episode. But that first night there was...
Now, Michael, was that your first night out doing anything of that sort as far as ghost hunting, paranormal, anything?
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about it. You went under in Estes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And tell us a little bit about it. Describe the process.
You put on these headphones with this weird noise, and you just start getting words to your head, and you just say it out loud. I don't remember all the words because there's quite a lot of words, but yeah.
Can you tell us about...
Actually, if I remember right, I think he only went under for like 30 seconds because he was watching me and Oliver do it, and then
I wasn't down for that long. My back kept hurting.
That was the night that Julie, I think it was messing with him, calling you out. You want to tell him about that?
Yeah, I think that was me and Oliver out, and that's when we were saying stuff at like the same time before we put him out. But it was like actually calling you out for stuff, and you can go ahead and talk about that.
What they mean by it was calling me out. So I was getting paranoid over like cars passing by and stuff. So I kept looking over my shoulder. And once this car passed by, Sam, I heard him say, "Little boy scared of car or scared of something." And I was just thinking in my head, I'm not scared. I'm just worried. I guess I was scared a little bit. So I was I don't know. I was just getting a little like frustrated that it's called me out, and then it said little boy thinks he's tough or something. So it was beefing with me, but I was pretty chill with it.
Yeah, and you remember from when we talked about the first one, there's nowhere to park except for one car, and you're not supposed to be there after dark. So that's why like he was kind of on edge. Like if a cop pulls up, which it didn't happen until the last night, but we'll talk about that. I know we talked about that a little bit in the last one, but we'll talk about that again here. But yeah, so it was like, and like we said before with Estes, your senses are all cut off, so you're blindfolded, you can't hear. So I didn't know what he was doing or what he was saying. I don't even remember what I was saying. It was until afterwards, actually, you could hear some of it on the voice recording of like him saying something, and you could hear me from what I was hearing. It would just like directly respond to him, and that was the first time it called him out, but it definitely has not been the last.
And so another thing that happened, Oliver and Sam, when they would go under, they would say different things, but then sometimes they would say the right words. But then one of the most interesting things was like, so whatever we talk to there knows about us and our personal lives, in the sense that, so Michael, do you remember when they were under and then Oliver said Lincoln? And then Sam said Dakota.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, that's his brother's buddies, and then two former colleagues of mine. But then Lisa wasn't there the one night, but it brought up her name. We've had a few different things talk
Actually,
to
yeah,
us.
the first time it was just us. We were sitting closer to the woods, and it mentioned Lisa by name, and then colleague, coworker, kept saying that over and over, and that was and yeah.
Oliver wasn't with us the one night, but it had asked for Oliver. Now, so this is going to tie into what we had talked about in the Roth house. So we had a plethora of...
That's the episode after this one.
We have a plethora of different names that we've gotten. We've gotten Julia, we've gotten Lily, we've gotten Abigail.
Lila,
Francis.
Did Lila come through at the Roth house too?
It was L something, but I didn't hear it clearly. But the one name that we heard for sure come in at the Roth house was Abigail. And back to the Alice box, Sam had asked, did you follow us here from Gypsies? And the response was in the affirmative. And it's like, that was just telling that whatever it is follows you there. But to go even deeper into that, we learned that there are, some of the words that we would get, Sam would get out there as angel, things like that, So as far as the malevolent part of Gypsies, I don't know too much about that, but we've definitely gotten a lot of just as much positive as we have, I'd say, negative there.
Yeah, it's definitely been a mix of sorts. And it's one of the first things my uncle said when we were actually walking through there was it's peaceful here. There's no evil spirits. And then we saw that face, and he retracted everything he said.
The face. What do you mean by the face? The human thing?
I think I still have the picture over here.
Yeah, with the face blurred out.
Yeah. Yeah, it had the face. Well, not really. From far away, it looked like the eyes were like holes. Same with the mouth. And then you got more up, and it looked more like it was like melted.
When I say blurred out, you can't really like see the face. It looks like all like mixed together. I don't even know, but it had the body form like a human.
Yeah, it was, and like I said, we didn't see that when we were there because it was just getting dark. So we were just taking a bunch of pictures. And by the time that we left and was going through it, we actually saw it from a distance. I didn't see it. My uncle saw it, and he was like, "Whoa, wait, what's that?" And I thought he was making something up because he's blind as it is. And then I saw it, and we were just like, "Oh, so something was definitely there." Which that's also a night. that I got my whole hair pulled there when we were walking around in the dark. And he was right behind me. I thought he did it. He swears he didn't do it. And then he showed me that he was taking a video and you can see it. And it pulled me to the ground. And I thought it was just him messing with me. But that was something.
And then one thing that Sam would keep on mentioning too is like, oh, that night or Guy in Black and things like that, like Bad Man. And you keep on looking back at the picture that he took and you can't help but wonder if that's not what they're talking about.
And I'm not entirely sure. I don't think we heard directly from him. I think things there are like trying to send out a warning about him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we don't. If far away, my uncle's first thought was, oh my God, somebody was standing right there watching us. Because why would you be dressed in all black? Somebody was sitting out there watching us. And when we zoomed on the face, that's when it was like, whoa. So the next part was supposed to be with Lisa talking about her experience when we brought Teddy, Mikey, Lisa, and Oliver, and it was all four of us. And it was the first, or all five of us. It was the first time we were all there together. And something was telling us to go deeper into the woods. Go deeper. And we finally decided to. And it started going pretty insane. The further we got back in there, the EMF reader was going off the charts. We had 2 spirit boxes reading constant words, like not one moment of silence. And then Lisa was the only one who stayed up by the tombs, and because she didn't want to be going through the woods. And then all of a sudden, about, I don't know, a minute and a half in, we heard her yelling for us. And so we all go up there, and she points to a big tomb and says, and she says, behind it, I swear I saw 2 other tombstones. They lit up and they flew across the cemetery. And that's how she worded it. And is it not? That's exactly how she worded it.
Moved, but yeah.
Well, with the way she was pointing, she was like,
yeah.
oh, like it flew across. Well, I had seen an orb there once the first time we were there. And they say orbs is something you see all the time there. And that's what she thinks it was now that she has been there. But we went over to see where she said she saw the 2 tombstones sitting beforehand. And you could see like an indent in the ground where one was. And it looked like it got chopped off right at the bottom. And that was disturbing. But then Lisa didn't want to go back into the woods. And so Teddy stayed up there with her, and me, Mikey, and Oliver went deeper into there, and they put me under, and Mikey and Oliver were asking questions, and we got some answers there too. But I was under, so we got some videos there too, but I was under, so I don't remember much. So Mikey was there, so he'll tell you what happened down there. You know which part I'm talking about, right?
Yeah. Okay. As Sam says, it was me, Sam, and Oliver down in there. So when we were walking before Sammy put on the stuff, the EMF thing was just red everywhere we go. And it was mostly red on Sam because I feel like there's something on Sam, not going to lie. But it was only on Sam. And then when he put on the thing, I had it like in front of him and it just went dead. It was not doing anything until he started to talk. And then they kept saying, what I really remember is these few words that Sam's it, like his, like Sam's it, like Sam was owned by it. And we kept saying Sam's not and stuff like that. And why are you attached to Sam? And what I remember is us asking if you were attached to Sam, touch his EMF reader, and we had it right on Sam. And it just went red. And then I said, where you at right now? It said on the side of Sam. I went on each side, and then on one of the sides, it was just red. And then, yeah, it just kept going for Sam. And then I heard a noise, and then I got a little spooked. You can see that in the video.
And that also ties in. That also ties into the story that you're going to hear closer at the end to wrap up this specific episode. And at one point, I'm going to put the video up in just a second. But at one point, they ask something like why, or I think it was maybe Oliver, what, like, why Sam, why, just why? And it said like, has lived with us, something like that.
So that was actually up when we were in the graveyard by the mother and the father stone.
Then it said it multiple times because I remember it in that video.
And then it even said that at the Abramson tombstones. Um, uh, I've lived with you your whole life, things like that.
I don't remember that, but like I said, once you're out, you don't really remember it. I only remember when me and Mikey and Oliver were down there because I saw the video of it, saying I had lived with them.
Yeah. It also said like it was one of his guardian angels, which we don't want to assume because it could have been something bad that's trying to lie to us.
But whatever it was, and I don't know if this is jumping ahead, but whatever it was, what did say it was protecting us that night in the woods, and
it said it was protecting us the night before that night because we asked if we went in the woods again if it would protect us, and it kept saying, no, you don't need protection, this, that, and this.
it would say him, just him.
Yeah. It just wanted him to go back in the woods by himself, which.
I mean, it was a full blown argument with whatever was wanting him to go back in the woods and me.
Now, for the record, I was completely okay with going back into the woods alone, but I don't remember most of this. I'm hearing most of this for the first time because most of that night that we were there, I was under like 90% of the time. I have no recollection of like 80% of the stuff I had said when I was out. So a lot of this is like I'm hearing it too.
Yeah, you don't really remember any word you repeat back because there's so many words sometimes. That's why when Teddy asked me to tell the experience of me going under, I couldn't really explain it that much besides you're hearing noises and you get a lot of words that get thrown at you. Gotta hear what you gotta hear.
Yeah, because it is definitely a lot. And like Lisa said, she's still gonna come do this, which we'll have to do like a part 2 of this one at some point because I feel like just the experiences that she had, which we will cover a little bit here, but she'll have enough to fill a gap. Because something. Well, like I said, we'll cover that in a minute, but something was just as much for her.
Yeah, and I feel like she should be here to answer that part, or not answer, but have a say in that part, because that's where you can get really deep into the significance of what we were hearing and how it applies to her. Same kind of concept as Tristan and Destiny from the Roth House. But.
Yeah, which that one comes out a week directly after this episode. If you can't tell, we filmed these way out of order.
And what we hear and what we were seeing was not just the only things. We were also feeling things. Like, there'd be a few people at one side of the field, like, doing it, and then somebody at the other, like, pretty close, like 2 feet away. And then those 2 people would feel cold, but we wouldn't. And that's when we knew there's, like, something around. You'd feel like just something off in that little part.
And you could always tell, like I noticed with your brother especially, you could always tell when they're getting kind of creeped out because they'll be right up next to you and like, are you good? No, I'm just cold. Yeah.
You can definitely tell. But I mean, we can't really blame them because some of the stuff is pretty like.
I'm not like that. That's just Bob.
For the record, I went under one night and I panicked because I felt something touch me and I took off my headphones and it was him curled up to me. So,
yeah.
Well,
he wasn't scared though. He was just tired and decided he wanted to take a nap.
Oh no, that
wasn't
wasn't what I was talking about. I was talking about when we were by the statue. Which by the statue we have gotten some pretty like the cat ball has gone off multiple times, and that's actually I think the first place where me and Oliver were getting like the same words at the exact same moment. That statue is there's something with that 100%. And then we also got that statue is also when we first got the music box, the place we tested it with me and my uncle, which we put that in video in the last episode. If you want to go see that, you should be able to find it without a problem. But we put up the 2-minute video of us testing out the music box and it going off right by the statue when we walked away. That statue is when me and Oliver were sitting we were about, 5 feet apart from each other. Oliver was the closest to the statue. When we were out, the cat balls kept going off, we were told. And at one point, we had both felt something like right behind us touch us. And then according to Lisa, the cat balls went off like at the same moment we said we felt something. So that alone is pretty disturbing as it is.
And there'd be some times where you would ask is somebody touching me, or just is something next to me, something behind me? Did something just touch my hair?
And there's been multiple times too when you're done with if you have to get pulled out of Estes, it's from somebody tapping you on the shoulder because they can't hear you. There's been multiple times where I've come out and been like, and nobody will be near me. And I'm like, why did you bring me out? We were getting good answers, and they're like, nobody touched you, but I felt a for sure tap to bring me out.
Yeah, something's got to drag you off for me to tap you out.
Yeah, because it that's kind of another line with what Mikey was saying. It seems to like everybody will go out, but it'll either not do anything or it'll overwhelm people. Like the first time Lisa ever tried it, it was like overwhelming amount of words. It'll only like let me get clear answers consistent. And that same thing happened at the Roth House, which we talk about in the next episode.
Oliver, it's pretty vocal with Oliver too. I've only went under the one time.
Well, twice, but the first time we'll tell you about that.
The first time got interrupted. The second time, and then again, you don't know you don't remember what you're saying because all you're doing is listening to the words. And when I came out, they told me some of the words I was saying. Again, it has a habit of singling out certain people. And it seemed like, from what they told me, it was definitely singling out Lisa. Some of the words I was saying where you said faith.
Now, for the record of that, I believe it had me, Mikey, Oliver. Was Oliver there the night we got Chloe? Yes. Yeah, she was there.
No,
no.
Oliver was not. It was just me, you, Chloe.
The night I'm talking about where I went under was with Bob.
I know, but this was the first night, so we got to lead into that. So the first night, not really the first one, but we had a time when Oliver didn't go, and we had Lisa, and we had Mikey and Teddy, and then we brought another one of our older coworkers in, Chloe, and it was her first time doing this, and she came in late as it was. Before this, we actually went to the Cedar Lake School that we talked about in the last episode, and we had to cut that short. We got maybe like 20 minutes of actual investigating done, like set up in a spot, but then we walked into another room on the second to last floor going up, and it looked like somebody was living in there.
There was an unopened cold Monster can, an unopened bag of goldfish, and a stuffed animal with the tag still on it.
And when he says cold, like it's enough to leave your fingerprint on it if you drag your finger across it. Like it was cold.
It's cold condensation.
And it was not cold outside at all. It was pretty warm.
Yeah, it was not like we did this in, I think we did that one closer to the end of second week of October, first week of October, something like that. But we're in Indiana, so it's warm because the weather's very inconsistent here. But it was like you could wear a t-shirt and shorts and be fine. And that school, it was about the same temperature, but it had like fresh condensation on it, and the goldfish were unopened and they were to expire next year. And they had a flower sitting by the stuffed bear with the tags on it, and so we got the heck out. Which it's actually weird because Lisa's been in there alone before, and she's okay. But we got to like the second floor, and she was like, "We need to leave. I have a really bad feeling about this."
I think it was because she was afraid the cops were going to be called.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
But she saw that sign last time, that giant.
Right. But there were also sirens everywhere, blah, blah, blah. But as far as activity there goes, that was the least activity we've got anywhere we've been. Now, we weren't there very long, but I mean, it wasn't very active at all. But when we saw the monster and the
everything, we still had a whole nother floor to explore. But
I didn't feel like running into anybody in there because I don't know, like...
That stuff is weird. Like there was no.
And we didn't have no protection, so
correct.
We were just going somewhere without protection.
I had a pocket knife, and that was it.
Yeah, but that's not getting us nowhere.
But the thing is, there wasn't like a place for somebody to bed down or anything. And I can't tell you how many times we've been there, and there's like consistently been nothing. But it was in like the oddest spot, not a spot you would be expecting somebody to stay in, and it was just.
I wouldn't expect anybody to stay in that place, period.
No, because it's tucked in behind woods. Like it's a trek just to get there. And that being alone, there's like nowhere nearby you could go to shop or eat or do any of that. Like there's nowhere that's a good spot for it. So you wouldn't expect anybody to be living there.
And so that tells me if somebody's in there and living there, which they are, they're either a vagrant or a drug addict or both.
I'm curious. I don't know if it's enough to actually go back, but I'm curious if they would still be in there because, like I said, it was just a one-time thing. And the items itself, it wasn't like items that you would. It wasn't water. It wasn't a big supply of food. It was just a small bag of goldfish and one can of Monster with a flower and a teddy bear.
Yeah, a flower and a stuffed animal.
That still had the tags on it, though. If somebody's taking their personal belongings around, they don't usually leave tags on it.
And if you're going for like a date night or a romantic evening, that ain't the place to do it.
I mean, I could see like a guy taking a girl there to be scared, to like get her scared and be like, "Oh, look what you right here. Look what we found, eh? Look what I found. It's just for you." And
You know what? I understand exactly what he is saying.
like a little celebration.
I understand exactly what he was saying, but I also could see that being the end of that relationship.
Yeah.
100%.
But I could totally see what he's saying.
Hey, everybody does what everybody. Maybe she's into like scary moments, and yeah,
You've thought about this.
yeah, I have. Yeah.
The thing is, people are so messed up. I could see that, and I don't get how you don't. Look at 90% of the people in this country, in the state, and tell me 50% of them wouldn't do that.
I would have liked to have had a monster the night that Mike was hiding in the basement. Just saying.
Of the church?
Yeah. Yeah, I would have enjoyed the monster.
Anyway, something about that place had to do with Gypsy. Oh, yeah, because we went to Gypsy's right after, and we had Chloe meet us there. And it's worth mentioning that right before we went to the school, we had planned it a while in advance. There was another coworker who I still hate was taking a bunch of his friends over there, and we wanted to get in and out before they got there. And so, of course, when they're done exploring that place, they call Teddy to ask where he is, and of course, he has to tell them. And so we get to Gypsy's, we're doing our own thing, and that'll be relevant in a minute. But we found a tombstone that was active. That night was like surprisingly like dead compared to most nights. No pun intended with it being a cemetery. But we found one tombstone that was really active. It kind of like led us in this direction, which oddly enough, we set up a recorder on top, and Teddy, you see how tall Teddy is. He had to like kind of reach to get the recorder on top, and then the night's over and we go to get the recorder and it's like shoulder height. And Lisa was like, "Teddy, wasn't that taller before?" And he had to think about it, and he was just like, "Yes. Yeah, it was a little bit taller." That was odd.
And I grow horizontally, not vertically, unfortunately.
Yeah, so that was pretty odd, but that was the tombstone that was active. So we set up over there, and for the record, we'll have Lisa talk a little bit more about it, but her faith, she believes that there are many gods, and you can kind of like pick and choose your favorite. I don't want to speak too much on it because I haven't done research into it, but it kept Chloe would ask something like, "Did you have the wrong faith when you were alive?" "Yes." Are you in heaven?" "No." "Well, why?" "Wrong faith." It would be like directly answering these questions just like this. And then it called out Lisa by name again. And it kept like saying she was the one there with the wrong faith. And it was doing it pretty consistently, which she admitted a few days later that freaked her out. And
she was raised Catholic. And again, this is all something we'll have her here to discuss and all that because
it's not really our place to be talking about.
No. But it knows us on a personal level. Like, it knows things about us.
Yeah, one of the first things she said to me when that night was over was, "How would it know spiritual things if we just walked into that cemetery?" Mm-hmm. So that was kind of freaking her out. Well, then here comes the part that I just mentioned a moment ago, was that idiot who went to the school decided to bring all of his stupid friends over to the cemetery when Teddy decided to go out for the first time ever. And
what was it? Can you remember anything I was saying before I was interrupted, or because I can't?
I believe the only thing, like he only got a couple words out. The only thing I remember him saying was "little boy."
And the number 4 comes out an awful lot.
Yeah, we get that a lot at the cemetery. 40, 4, 4, 40.
3.
It'll really like stick to 40 and 4, but 4 more. Like there's some, and we still don't know the relevance to that. Maybe there's a hidden grave from 1440. I don't know, but we still don't know the relevance of that. But that is one thing we do have to find out. Now, the stupid guy came, brought all of his dumb friends, making all this noise. So we obviously had to leave. Like I said, Lisa's first instinct, like I did in the first one, where her first instinct is to hide, is my car is still out there. So thanks, Lisa.
They all say, "Oh, drop down," and ask him every time we've had run-ins with the law. I can talk my way out of anything. We're already busted, but crouch down. Look, I says, get up. Trying to hide behind me.
Actually, we did that the night when the actual cops came. When it was them, you tried to crouch behind that big one too, because we saw like 10 people start marching towards us, and that ain't cops. When it was Brock and his friends.
I sat against the same tombstone that I was under in.
He's trying to mask the fact that he was a coward. Anyway.
I'm not. Now, what the hell was that? Oh, so anyway, I actually had an interesting conversation with Brock yesterday because he came up and visited with Lisa and Ethan. And he was actually pretty pissed off that night because his friends didn't take it seriously and all, and they had pissed him off at the school and all that, but he didn't have a car. So he actually apologized for that, and he was pissed off. I was like, well,
Anyway, that night we were basically like out of the game, so we had to come back another night, and that night was the night he brought
Bob. That's my brother.
So his brother tagged along with us. We did not have Oliver, but we did have Lisa. And so Bobby came along with us. And it was his first time ever doing anything like this. He was jumping at the chance to go under. He was excited. We got videos of that, and we're going to put that up after we describe a little bit about it, because I missed most of it. But we set the music box up by this tomb that none of us remember seeing ever, which actually, first, we have Mikey has a story about a certain tombstone that he's had beef with trying to find it, and it just says mother.
Well, I don't have beef with this. So the first time we ever went there, I had a connection. Well, I found the tombstone, and then I had a connection to it for some reason. I say the reason why I did is because how it like just instantly went on red whenever I first ever went by it. And then the next day or that night, whenever it got darker, I tried to look for the tombstone. I just could not find it. And I kept looking in the spot that I thought it was in, but it was not there. And every single time I would look around there, there's just nothing there. I never had beef with it. I just liked the tombstone for some reason.
Now, we hadn't found it. We had been back, I think 4 or 5 more times, and we didn't find it until the last night we went there, which was actually the night we brought his brother there with us.
And the tombstone looked different, in my opinion.
And it wasn't in the same area, even close to the same area it was in before.
The only reason we know it's that one is because we searched the whole cemetery. We walked through it 5 or 6 times just purposely looking for it. And the reason that we knew it would be different from the others was because it was the only one in the entire cemetery that just said mother. No date, no names, no one buried next to it. It just simply said mother. And it took us a long time to find the other one. And the other one does look so different. But we've searched it in the day and in the dark. And there's every tombstone. And that there just wasn't one for 5 searches. And then the last time we came, it was just there. And it was just odd. It's odd. And so when we brought Bobby, we found a tombstone that none of us really remembered, which had a book sitting on top of a pedestal. It was all carved in stone. It wasn't a real book, by the way. But it was we decided to try there because we had never seen that before. And we set up the music box right under it, and that started answering yes or no questions. And so when we started getting our answers there, Bobby wanted to go out, and because he had never tried it before, and he's 14. He just turned 14, and he was really excited to try something like this. So we put him under, and he was answering our questions, but the main thing he kept saying was someone there, somebody there, someone there. And it was pretty disturbing because we had the woods right behind us. And here's the video of that real quick. Here's the video of that.
7.
God's
But that's
name.
Hebrew.
Yeah.
Yes. Yahweh is God's name.
Well, that's like God's secret name.
Yes.
Kind of, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
So, were you religious in your life, Leela?
Someone.
Someone. It said someone like 3 times now.
Someone?
She said yes.
Yes.
Why are you still here then?
Because. Was it the wrong religion?
Sure.
Sure. Can you tell us the religion? That might be stretching it, but.
Near.
Mir? All right, you said earlier follow.
Was it?
Are you having fun with us right now, Leela?
Somebody?
Somebody, that's again. Are you trying to give us a warning?
Are you just happy someone's here to talk to you?
Thankful.
Painful.
I think you said thankful.
Thankful.
Somebody nice.
Someone nice. Thankful for someone nice. You're thankful that we're here to talk to you? Well, we just want to help.
And we are pretty nice.
Somebody.
That's again, somebody.
Who's this somebody, Leela?
Me.
He.
He.
He. Who is he, Leela?
Somebody and he. Was he behind the tree the night me and my uncle were here?
Near.
Near again.
Who's near, Leela? We know you're near. You're right with us.
I'm done.
After he ended up coming out because he ended up feeling really, really dizzy to the point where he ended up having to like lay down.
And keep in mind, when you're doing this, you're sitting. It's not like you're standing trying to keep your balance. You are sitting. You're blindfolded and you can't hear, but you're sitting.
So it definitely had an effect on him, but I'm still happy he went. He had a good time.
Yeah, and after he started to feel better, he was immediately ready to go right back under. It just...
So funny thing is, side note, is on the way home, Oliver and Mikey always fall asleep like clockwork. Bob was up the whole time.
Yeah, that was pretty entertaining, which the only other time we've had someone feel like how Bobby was describing was the first time we took Mikey and Oliver out, and we went to that cemetery first, and afterwards we went to that house in Lowell that I was talking about in the previous episode, and we were upstairs, and I was out, and I was standing because I don't trust that house enough to sit down in there, but we were by a window, and for context, there had been quite a few deaths here, but the one worth mentioning for this part was a woman had fallen out of the window, whether she was pushed or jumped or just fell, we don't know. But we were upstairs trying it, and we were up there trying it, and at first started when I was out, I kind of like felt a little bit dizzy and kind of lost my balance, but he was there and he kind of like caught me. But when I took my blindfold off, Oliver was like crouched down like he was ready to die. And so we go downstairs and he just goes, guys, I'm not feeling too good. And he goes, I feel like I'm going to throw up. And at first we were just like, yeah, right. Because it was like, whatever. He just goes, guys, I'm really not feeling good. He goes, guys, I'm really not feeling good. And he goes, no, my mouth is starting to water, which that's the telltale sign. So he goes outside and he throws up. And it was chicken nuggets that he had just eaten. But we knew it wasn't the food because him and Mikey got the same ones. And Mikey was fine. And we know he wasn't like sick because right after he was ready to eat again. And he was playing on a gate that would swing like he would be flying. And he was fine. It was just that was odd. But now the final night we were there with Bobby and Lisa, and the final night we were at the Gypsy cemetery. This is the night we kind of like finished everything off. It had a finale, but the thing it did. What other way would you put that? And the thing that was really odd was we had just put Teddy under so he could like actually try it more in depth. And Lisa had these little like Chinese stress balls that you would shake and they would chime. And she had them in her pocket, and I was the only other one who knew about them. And she would shake them to make a little noise to freak everyone out. And Mikey was the first to hear it, and he was like, what was that? I heard that right. Like, that was right near the woods. And I didn't know it was her doing it at first, so I was like, "Oh, yeah, I heard that too. I'm curious about it." And she was like, "Well, I didn't hear anything." And then she does it again, and she gives me a look, and she's like, "Yeah, it's me." Now, meanwhile, Teddy's out. He doesn't hear any of it, and so she puts an end to it, and we're like actually engaged with this. And the thing that freaked us out was that Teddy came out on his own, and he goes, "I just heard 3 chimes, like 3 triangle chimes, and that's exactly the sound they made." And I looked at Lisa because I didn't hear it. She didn't do it, but it came through the headphones, which he was under the spirit box. You can't make sounds come through that.
And then so I've been, oh, did you hear that jingling sound? It sounded like it came from the woods, blah, blah, blah. And like I said, I thought they were just, screwing around, obviously. And
Which
that's
we
what-
were. We
and
were.
but I didn't hear it at any time that she did it. So it's like, yeah. And that's what made me come out, because like that's something that I didn't want to forget to bring up. Like it's like, okay, I just heard that, but it was through the headphones this time.
And now me and Lisa looked at each other, and I made sure she didn't do it because I didn't hear it, and he can't hear nothing through the headphones. And so she looks at me, and she had like the most terrified look on her face because we both knew she didn't do it, but it was kind of like she was trying to like spook it up more and make it seem more real. And whatever was communicating with us was kind of like mocking her, like, "Oh, you're gonna get it? I can do it too. Like you're trying to do this, I can do it. Watch." And it like gave it directly to Teddy.
Or it's trying to say, you're trying to spook them, or I'm actually going to spook you.
Yeah, because right after that, it started talking like Teddy was still kind of out, or he was out, but she was still messing with the chimes, and it brought up God again, and it brought up her faith again. And the first thing she does is like, "How many?" Because it goes like God, like wrong God or something. She goes, "How many?" Because like I said, she has that belief that there's multiple gods, and it said just one.
Now this was all before then, because I didn't go back under after I heard the chime.
This was before he came out, but she was still messing with. This was after she messed with the initial chimes.
But that goes back to showing like the reoccurring theme of things. There, like we've gotten more of a sense of like protection and like looking out than we have anything evil. And like as far as Abigail goes and her following us to the Roth house, like you guys will see, we asked her, are you still here to protect us? And boom, the music goes off in the affirmative.
Which brings another question. It's really concerned for Lisa, because why else would it be trying so hard to get a point across to her?
And that's the whole topic for when we have her here.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that more when she is here. But now, after Teddy came out, I went under, and it was the last time at the cemetery. It was the last time at the cemetery that I went out doing normal Estes. And once again, he was telling everyone to put me into the woods. Now, I don't remember much of this conversation before I went deeper under, so either one of you talk about that.
Well, it was just basically mainly saying that Sam knows how to do it all than us. Like, he knows more than us. And, like, going deeper, like, whatever. I didn't know what it meant by it, but it's like Sam knows what it means, and we asked Sam about it, and he actually knows what it meant. So I guess it knows what Sam means and stuff.
So it would keep saying that night. What night? Well, Sam knows. What does Sam know? He knows. Ask him. So then we finally decided to have Sam go to the edge of the woods, and he ended up laying down because he had a way of going deeper.
Now, I had heard about this only like twice before, and it's a way to get like, it kind of uses the Estes, but instead of sweeping radio stations for words, you just have on white noise with the blindfold, and you lay down, and you're trying to fall asleep, basically. And but you're more open in a sense. It's a weird state of mind that you got to get yourself in, and it's really hard to describe. But I've tried it a few times at places we have gone, and I've only ever gotten it to work once beside this, so I didn't think it was going to work. But whatever it was kept telling them to tell me to do it. And but the only reason I understood what it said is because they kept saying ask him deeper, something like that. And that's what my first thought was, well, I know how to go deeper under the Estes. So I took the shot, we went near the edge of the woods, and it turns out that was correct.
So all this time we're hearing go in deeper, this and that, and in reality, just wanted him to go to a deeper level of uh, thought of sensory isolation. And from the start, it was like perfect memory recall. Um, as far as involving the night that we were him, myself, and his uncle Mike were out in the woods.
Now keep in mind here when we like went to the cemetery and went deeper under, it was around October 12th, somewhere around there, and we went into the woods with my uncle in January. So it's been about a 10-month gap.
And it not only described that night with perfect memory recall, it described every experience basically we've had there. Anytime we've ever been in the woods, it perfectly memory recall. And
I don't remember any of it right now for the record.
but just from there's enough on the video to where you can hear, and like even you can see it, like it was perfect memory recall from the night we were in the woods, the night you three were in the woods.
Not only was it recalling when me, my uncle, and Teddy went into the woods, but when me, Oliver, and Mikey went in, and it was just us three. You were there when I went deeper under. You tell it what it was saying, because I don't really remember it, but you were there both the night we went under and the night I was alone under.
When he was laying on his back, going under by the woods.
Oh, when you went deep under?
Yeah.
Oh, you was just explaining like the night that you guys like the first thing you guys explained today, the wood part. You're just mostly explaining all that, but you were like you see like this figure in the background and stuff this time when you were explaining. You could see something following you and stuff, which you guys couldn't have seen when you actually were in there. But yes. Really all I remember.
It also made a note of the no footsteps being left behind. And then it jumped from the night of the snow to the night when me, him, and Oliver were in the woods. And you talk about that part.
Me and Oliver.
When you and Oliver went under, and then I was recalling that night.
Oh, you were saying that you've seen like people, like you've seen like a person just standing there right by us, which we couldn't see, but we felt that night. Me and Oliver felt someone there with us. That's why I got a little spooked at the end of the video when they show the video.
Yeah, and actually, if I recall right, at the end of that video, you hear a step in the distance, and Mikey, oh hell nah, and then that's when the video cuts off. But like I said, I didn't hear it because I was out, but he heard it, and then this night it's like something's walking towards you, something's approaching you.
Yeah, and you'll in the video you hear there were four things in the woods that night, and there it goes back to the number 4. And then the message that the ultimate message was like what we were talking to was protecting us. What we were talking to was protecting us that night. That's what whoever we were communicating with was trying to communicate to us the whole time, like you are protected. And back to Lisa, we got words like angels, guardian angel, things like that. So when Sam went deeper under that time, that really closed the kind of like the story as far as what we had been getting little by little every time. And it's one of the first places I've ever went and investigated like that where there's been a beginning, a middle, and an end, and it's all made sense.
Yeah, they were saying guardian angel, and they were talking about God. When I say they were talking about God, they were like giving us like a view, like what they didn't believe in God, and they didn't know would happen after afterlife, what they are in right now. So they were trying to warn us to believe in God and not be like them. And they didn't believe in God, so they're going through this bad era. They're saying it's like a bad place. You're never in rest or something. And they just kept telling us to believe in God, and there is a God out there. And then that's when it kept talking about Lisa right there, and it kept targeting Lisa because she's in a different religion, which I don't talk on because I'm only a Christian. So it was just saying believe in one God, and just kept trying to drill that in our heads so we don't end up like them.
Which, like we've mentioned before, every member of our group is Christian except Lisa.
Is Chloe?
Well, she wasn't technically part of it. The thing didn't want to talk to Chloe. The thing didn't want to talk to Chloe, but all of us in our main part, Lisa's the only one who's not Christian, and yet that's the one it's trying to tell her. Like, it's trying to tell her, hey, listen to them, you know, without like we don't want to come off like we're trying to force anything, but like every like things that aren't even us is telling her.
Well, she has said to me a few times, more than a few times, how she often thinks about that night, and every night at that she's heard
it
that.
was two separate nights at this point. We have 2 solid nights where it was telling her.
And she asked me the other day, she's like, I just can't believe it actually like called me out. And I said, you were raised Catholic, I said, so the faith was there from the beginning, I says, but something happened that made her lose that faith, that conviction. But she's still, there are still times, and she's told me before where she thinks back to that, maybe this, and that's all just, like, it's really causing you to look inside of yourself and rethink like priorities, things like that. And I'm very excited to have her here to like tell her side, tell about her religion and all that.
Oh, absolutely.
And see where she like just from before we started doing this to
how
like
far she's come in her thought process.
Yes.
Now, something that also gets to me is as much like it's kind of on the same topic of it talking to her originally in terms of whatever we were talking to. I'm not necessarily convinced it's from that cemetery because one, it knew about her spiritual. I can't talk. My brain's broken. You know what I mean? It knew about her faith and where she lies. But I didn't think about this until I just heard Mikey talking about it. Like this had completely blown over my mind. How would it know out of everyone there that I was the only one who would know how to go deeper under?
The same reason it knew that it's been with you its whole life, the same reason it knows things about Lisa, the same reason it knows things about...
What if it could just read you whenever it looked at you? Like it just...
And it can. I think that's part of it, the reason it said Lincoln and Dakota. So it's letting us know, like, you're here to ask me questions, but you're the one that needs to ask questions because I already know everything about you.
Yeah, that's it. That makes me think, and two, that brings me to another point. Is it something that's like actively following us around, or is it something that's there that when we go, it's able to gather all that information collectively at one time? Or is it like is it here? You know what I mean?
How
like,
else
is it
would you
following
explain
us,
Abigail and the Roth House?
Yeah, that Abigail one was creepy. When we went under there, that other house, it was one of the first names we had got was Abigail. And when we asked the music box if it was her, yes, it was. And at one point even said it was there when me and Mike were going through there with the bucket.
I don't think it's like with us all the time because like all of us, I don't think it would be with us all the time. But I feel like it really like if you have your inner thoughts and you're going through like your inner thoughts when you're in that moment, I feel like they can like hear you when you're thinking to yourself. So that's why whenever they were messing with me, they know how to get to me because my inner thoughts, which I'm a really inner thinker. I like to think in my head a lot because I'm that type of person.
Now that's more of what I was thinking too. How he was saying it was like getting his thoughts to know how to get to him. It was like specifically saying the words where he would normally kill a person. His trigger words. It was doing it, and then I think it even was like ha 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 ha. Like it was laughing in his face, which I'm honestly surprised. He didn't kill me the one night when I said I want to go deeper in the woods. And he goes no, and I go oh little boy is scared. But he also walked right into that one. So like I couldn't really he walked into that. I ain't going in there.
I ain't scared of no ghosts. So we look forward to having Lisa with us, and I guess there will be kind of like a part 2 to this.
And we'll hear more. It'll be more in depth about her though, because she's very entertaining. Now, what were you gonna say?
That's up to you.
Oh, we are going to have Mikey back along with Oliver, along with Lisa, when we are all inside the parlor of the Roth house, which we talk about that in the next episode, just me and Teddy. But we will be returning there. We got quite a bit of info from 4 hours, and when we're there all night, that's going to be interesting. And like we mentioned in that episode, you'll see the guy says everybody has fantastic reactions with anything audio related. So it's going to be interesting for us to actually record, and then later when I'm going through and editing, seeing what we did and didn't hear. Because I didn't tell you, but I showed you that video of something hitting the window. When we were in there, there was other people in the house downstairs, but no one had anything related to music. It was just us in the music box. Well, the music box wasn't going off, but we could hear a music box in the room next to us going off. But there was nobody, like nobody has any of that type of stuff. And that was one thing we caught, and that's all I've really gone through. I didn't even go through the other half that we recorded that I still have to, because I'm curious. He swears he heard a cat meowing in there.
And then the people from the next room did as well. Because like he said, the people stayed with us a lot, and I think that's because they realized we had more equipment than the guy did.
Yeah, the guy owning that place or the tour guide, he had no clue what he was doing. But it was very entertaining. So you're going to hear about that in the next episode, and you're going to see Mikey back. Hey, that makes a neat sound. You're going to hear Mikey back when we also have Oliver and Lisa when we are staying the night in the Roth house, and we're also going to, everyone's going to split up and do Estes in their own room in that house. We'll pair off. You can come with me. You can come with me. It's going to be a night. It's going to be exciting. So that episode is going to be out, I'd say, within a month and a half, because we're going to try to get there within this month. So it's going to be directly from the inside of the house. So for those watching, you'll get to see what that looks like too.
And this is the end of this episode. Bye, everyone.
Yes, he's very excited for the end. So that was Mikey. You've only seen a picture of him hanging off of a pole before, but we got Mikey here, and next time we will be discussing the Roth House next Friday. That one will be very interesting, and we will talk about it Friday. Teddy, lead us out.
All right. Thanks, all you cool cats and kittens.
No, that's not it.
He does that on every episode. All right, see you guys next Friday.
Ghostbusters.